You already know what time it is. It's your boy DJ Richie Skye back with some tea, interviews, recaps, and more. And be sure to check the links in the description of this video for trips, for books, one-on-one sessions, and more. Now let's get into the tea.
Yo, we are back in the building, and of course, we're going to be talking about this Belle Collective reunion, but we got to talk about Saucy versus Spice and how Saucy is claiming to have dragged Spice so bad she changed her hair color. What you say is going on? Let's talk all about it, okay? So, I of course wake up this morning and I'm always searching the webs for the news, right? And of course, the neighborhood talk always got us. So the headline reads Saucy Santana takes credit for Spice switching up her hair color. I read her right out that blue hair. All right, so y'all know Spice is notoriously known for her blue locks, whether they're braids, whether it's long and bust down as they like to say, or crinkly curly, or what have you. But she's also had other hairstyles before as well, and other hair colors as well. So, I mean, I remember seeing the yellow. I think I've seen maybe a hint of blonde before, and I've definitely seen the black before. So, someone says Spice in her black hair is chef's kiss. And she does look amazing, but she's still wearing her signature blue, right? I think that's blue, if my eyes don't deceive me, in terms of her wardrobe, right? So, Saucy Santana tweets, LMFAO, y'all welcome. I can't wait for the new season to come out. I read her right out that blue hair. She been in black hair ever since, confessionals and all. And so I'm wondering, what did he say about her blue hair that made her all of a sudden change her hair? Or is it just that she was feeling like she was in a new era? People just like to switch it up at times. And I think that that's what she's been doing over the years. But maybe that's just me. I am interested in seeing the beef between Saucy and Spice because I think it has something to do with this cast album. So I am wondering how that's going to play out. Did she not want him on the album, or did he not want to be on the album and she requested him to be on the album? What leads to this fallout? Because it's unfortunate because they're both artists, right? So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. So I'm interested. And remember, the new season, I think, starts on January the 7th. So it's literally right around the corner. It's going to be a busy January, y'all. So many shows are back on the air, some of which are taking a hiatus for this week as well as this coming week because of the holiday. But January 7th is back on. Okay. So while I have your attention, we need to get into this Belle Collective reunion. And so we got to get into it, y'all. We got to get into it. I thought this photo from Carlos King and Kingdom Reigns page was a great way to showcase, since I'm not on camera today, the beautiful color combination that we have going on here. So let's give it up for the look. I feel like in the past they've never kind of really gone with a set theme. As best I can remember, I don't remember a set theme. But I do feel like I don't know where they filmed their reunions at before, but I believe this was filmed at Tyler Perry Studios from what I saw online. So maybe that also has to do with the sort of updated backdrop as well. This is giving one of those, almost like one of those, I don't know if it's the LED screens that the OC housewives use for their reunions, but it's definitely given like a similar vibe with like a nighttime backdrop of the city of Jackson, it appears. So I think that that's pretty dope. And I also feel like the color scheme of the dresses is coordinated very well with the flowers. I just felt like they kind of leveled up everything this year, giving them a new theme, adding a seventh cast member, having a friend of on the show. they leveled up everything. And I am so glad that they finally did, because that is probably what also contributed to it being named one of the top 10 reality TV shows of 2024 by The Wrap. That's huge. So we got to give it up for them. If I had to go with my favorite looks from the reunion, this is an interesting one. It's very interesting. I think if I had to go with my favorite combinations, it would likely, I know this is going to be, no, this is all according to taste, right? So everybody's taste is going to be a little bit different. I find Latrice's dress, honestly, to be my favorite. And coming in second, there is something about Marie's dress that really stands out to me. And then also Tambra's dress. Now, notice I picked the same color scheme for the dresses that I felt like were the most intriguing to me. And I don't really know why that is. Something about the other ladies' dresses, I don't know that they stand out as much. Maybe because the color combinations are so the same, or maybe it's because of the way they are placed right here in this photo. But to me, those are the ones that are the most striking. What are your favorites? Let me know in the chatterization down below. All right, so let's get into the reunion as a whole. If I had to, and granted, all the ladies look nice. Let me just go ahead and say that. All the ladies look nice, but those are my top three. I would like to know where your top three are and why. All right, so let's get into the, let's get into the actual show itself. If I had to rate this reunion on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably going to have to give it a 9. And I'm going to give it a 9 because I really feel like I would have appreciated a 3-part reunion for this. I did feel like, though it felt like a shorter season, I felt like there was a lot of issues that still needed to be addressed. And I feel like because of the 42-minute runtime for an episode, it just was not enough time to cover everything that I felt like really, really needed to be covered. And I know that we still have another part of the reunion to go where the men will be joining and we'll get further into the brawl of it all. But we did kind of start off a bit with the brawl. So I don't know. I wish that the conversations between Akeisha, Latrice, and Letitia in the beginning had been allowed to go further, and they probably did. And they probably had to just cut it down for the sake of time, to be quite honest with you. Because I felt like, I felt like Akeisha was really kind of allowed to explain herself. And I really didn't feel like we got to hear as much from Letitia and Latrice with regards to Akeisha's claims that, that the two of them are really basically spending all of their time tag teaming her, when that really wasn't the case throughout the season. It really became the case in that last episode and in those final few moments. So I'm just trying to understand the beef between Letitia and Akeisha. I feel like has always sort of been there and simmering and lingering, but I've always felt like there was something between Latrice and Akeisha that I just could never put my hands on, though it seemed as though it looked like Akeisha was telling Latrice that she didn't have a problem with her, but I couldn't tell based on the direction that she was pointing if she was speaking to Letitia or Latrice. What we all know now is that they all got a problem, and Letitia and Latrice don't like Akeisha at this point. And given that she's quit the show, I really don't think she cares. So there is that. And it's also interesting watching this, knowing that Akeisha is not coming back to the show, because it was discussed about whether or not, or like how she felt about, Latrice and Letitia basically saying that she didn't belong on the show. And then kind of knowing that she pulled her own sort of boss move and decided to leave the show of her own accord. It's an interesting way to watch the show. sometimes I wish that when a cast member leaves, I wish I didn't know until after the reunion. But you know, it it is what it is. It doesn't make me want to watch the reunion any less. But what it does do is it sort of dampens my joy a little bit, because I'm like, well, why should I care what you're talking about? Because at this point in time, you're not even coming back. So we are interested in the reunion because we're invested in the resolve and then the continuation of the story. But now at this point, I don't really care if there's a resolve because you're not coming back. So it kind of, again, it dampens that excitement for the arc of the story. And that's something that I'm really, really, really interested in. And I know that a lot of you who watch this particular channel, we oftentimes talk about the story in and of itself, or when pieces of the story are missing and how important that is for our viewing experience. So I don't know, I'm just I'm kind of bummed that we know that now, but say la vie, here's where we are. We then also get into, the Marie of it all. The Marie of it all to me was more of, it almost felt like this was more of a redemption season for Marie, especially towards the end. And, she talked about, her battle with dealing with her family and, how fame has sort of affected the relationship. Maybe not even just fame, maybe just success in general. And how that has taken a toll on her family dynamic, but also how the incident with the shooting at her home, I feel like I wanted to know, like, did you end up moving? And maybe some of that is for next season. Maybe some of that is for safety. But I did kind of want to know, like, what, we do know that they haven't found the culprits, which is also heartbreaking to know as well, that these people are still out there running around on the loose, causing chaos for whatever reason. And then the other question that we need to know is, what was the reason for it anyway? It seems so random if someone is just, it can't be, it doesn't seem random. That's what I'm saying. Based on what we saw, based on what we know about Marie living in a gated community, it just makes you wonder, was there some instance with some family member that led to this level of chaos, and that necessarily hasn't really been addressed? And I think it needs to be addressed in order for Marie to begin to feel some level of safety, because she may need to distance herself from the people in her life, whether it be, kids, mom, whoever it is, for her own safety. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you can love Marie, you can dislike Marie. And I told you, haven't met Marie in person. She's very soft spoken. She's kind of, I don't know. It felt to me like she had more of an introverted type of spirit. But, just to kind of think that she has to have this fear, where is it coming from? What did this stem from? So hopefully we'll get some type of resolution to that for her mental safety and for her own personal safety, right? The next thing that I'm going to touch on before I get to the two big finishes are, Tambra also talks about, I think that the reason why we probably didn't see a lot of Tambra in the first part of the season is perhaps this fear or the maybe postpartum depression. There was something definitely going on with Tambra where she sort of felt like, having to this overwhelming urge to protect her daughter from the world, right? And so I just feel like Tamra's story this season felt a bit glossed over. And maybe, I don't know if that's due to her own withdrawal from the show in terms of what she was willing to provide. We do know that Demont will not be at the reunion because he's got to work. I mean, the man is always working. And listen, there's nothing with a working man, but I think it diminishes her role in the show because the men this season were so heavily involved. And I have not yet seen Demont interact with the rest of the guys unless there was a moment that I missed. Or maybe it just is that Demont is not willing to be a part of the chaos that kind of comes along with filming a reality show and interacting with people that may be aggressive in some way, shape, or form at some point. Who knows? Or maybe Demont just too about it and he know himself. I really don't know. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. So Sophia and Selena. I'm just gonna say it for me. I felt like, and I think that Carlos addressed this delicately, but also he said it, right? For whatever reason, it felt like the moment anything was mentioned about Selena, Sophia had some quirky clapback. I mean, it did feel like she was reading Selena like for filth. And it was like almost for me, it made me wonder, like, well, I thought y'all made up. I thought y'all hugged and made up and agreed at least to be cordial. Or are you turning up for one, because this is the reunion? Or two, has something happened in the interim between filming and the reunion? Or three, is it that JJ has gotten in your ear to go at it with this woman to make her as uncomfortable as can be? Because it is revealed that by Tambra, Tambra to me was very, very useful in this reunion for pointing some things out, some very key points out. And I love that she stepped in to do that. And you can tell she's a loyal friend to Selena as well, because she pointed out to Sophia, she was like, no, this woman has not spoken negatively about you. She does not do that about you. And you said it out of your mouth that this was your show. This was your show. And so now it makes me go back to the moment that they had their altercation. And I said it, I think I might have said it last year. We all know that Selena was on Bring It. I'm not sure what roles Sophia and JJ, were allowed to interface with that group, with that show, especially with Sophia being the new wife. I'm not sure how that played out. I really don't know. That's I didn't watch the show, unfortunately. But when we also find out that, it was brought to Selena by Latrice, hey, I'm thinking about, recommending Sophia for this show, then we also find out that Selena gives her blessing and says that they will be good TV. It almost sort of feels like they had an okay relationship because we saw it at the beginning of last season. They were able to be cordial up until the moment of Latrice's hair salon opening, when Selena spoke to her and Sophia popped an attitude. At that moment, it became clear to me when Tambra brought it full circle, it seems to me, Sophia, like you just did not want this woman to be able to have a spot on the show that you feel like was yours. This was something for you. And to a certain degree, I can understand it. Maybe you weren't allowed to participate and Bring It, and maybe this was your thing and your moment to shine. And why should she now be given an opportunity to shine on a platform when I was not allowed to shine on that one? I don't know if that's the case or not, because again, I'm not familiar with Bring It and the dynamics of that show. What I can say is I'm only going off of what Tambra is telling us, what we saw, how the interaction has played out, especially with the peace order being in place such that it would have limited Selena's ability to interact with the group as a whole anytime Sophia was in the scene. The other thing that I do think that we need to address, and I'm not gonna, I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. I mean, Sophia was in her reading bag. I mean, she really, really was. And it almost seemed like Selena was a little bit taken aback and having to sort of defend herself because it's like, where is all of this energy coming from and why? Because at this point in time, to be quite frank with you, it's weird because Selena is with a whole nother man who Sophia alleges is, she says something about drugs and thugs. So that's a huge allegation as well. So it's like the things that Sophia is saying is kind of weird that they are directed at Selena in this way. Um, but Selena does get her that one good time when she tells her that she has been a bad stepmother. Um, and it's also interesting when we look back at the packages of Sophia's talking to her daughter and her son, and just seeing the dynamic play out where she's been confronted by D for spending so much time with JJ and being so concerned and consumed with JJ that she herself has felt left out and not supported. So as Carlos astutely, I mean, this was something that I felt like needed to be said. I actually am surprised that he said it, but I felt like in that moment it did need to be said. The common denominator in the issues between Selena and Sophia and JJ and his girls seems to be JJ. And it seems as though there is something that JJ is maybe perhaps, and I have to put up the alleged badge because I don't know this to be for certain, but Carlos pointed it out. So I feel like, it was said at the reunion, so I can repeat it. It seems as though there is something being said to Sophia that is winding her up so that she is programmed to have an issue and a beef with Selena. And then it is revealed that in the beginning of this whole relationship with Sophia and JJ, that she was never properly introduced to the mother of JJ's children. So it's almost like Iyanla says, the fish stinks from the head down, and JJ is the head at this point. And so, because of JJ's own unwillingness to also be the one to make things right with his daughters, it sounds like they're having to call him. He's not doing the calling. It's almost like it sounds like abandonment of one's family for a new family. Like, how, and I know it's not like this, but it's interesting when I think about, I'm not going to make that reference because I think it's too extreme. I was initially thinking about, Brian McKnight and how he does not really acknowledge his children by his first. Y'all know that whole situation. I'm not going to go down that path, but I don't want to see JJ go down that path of Brian McKnight, because that is a poor situation to find yourself in, especially as the daughters are having children of their own. You are so consumed with whatever. Why is it that you would want these two women to be so separated? What is it, as Carlos points out, that you don't want these two women to become close for? Why is that? What is it that Selena might say to Sophia in them getting close that you would not want to be told? Because that is what it's giving. And that is what was stated in the reunion. So I'm interested to see how part 2 plays out, because I want to hear what JJ has to say about all of this, because he is really the key, in my opinion, to resolving this family drama. And that's that. We do get a surprise visit from Dr. Antoinette Lyles, which I thought was also very interesting too. I want to say I liked her dress, but I can't quite recall. I mean, she looked great in her blue, obviously, but you know, it seems as though has been brought in to further solidify this point that she was not flirting with Letitia's husband. I don't know if there was more to this than just that, but it feels like it has to be something more that I'm missing. Because of the vitriol that she seems to have for Letitia. I did feel like last season Letitia was kind of pushing some buttons and making things happen. But I felt like this season she course corrected, got back to the mission at hand and keeping the ladies together, which I feel like is where she shines and where she thrives. So if she had come in last season and she said that, then I would definitely be like, well, okay. I mean, and whoop, there it is. But in this season, it's kind of interesting because we do see Letitia working overtime to pull the ladies back together again until the brawl that happened that occurred in which she feels like Akeisha no longer belongs in the group. I still need to see a real interaction and real conversation happen between Letitia and Akeisha. And I need to fully understand everything that went on during and after the brawl, because I'm hearing some different things about some stuff that happened with Latrice and Akeisha and the families and stuff like that. So I need to understand that. And I wonder if any of that will be described at the reunion. In terms of Antoinette and her performance at the reunion, it's hard to say because, when two people are kind of talking over top of each other, Letitia threw out some interesting digs that Dental is no more. I don't know if that's the case or not. And if so, when did it close? Did it close after Latrice's last visit during the season? Like, what happened? Like, what's going on? I can't imagine that she would necessarily need to check, because Carlos does ask, would she return to the show? But we don't get the answer to that question quite yet. But it's an interesting question to ask, because I do think that her bringing her back would shake up the dynamics of the group, specifically as Akeisha is headed out the door. So that's my recap and assessment of Belle Collective. I want to know what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below, because it was actually really, really good to me. But the problem with it being 42 minutes and I think likely 2 episodes is it did not give me enough that I felt like my cup was full and I wanted more. So hopefully we will get more of what I wanted in the next episode, but we shall see. All right, so with that being said, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell button, and I will, of course, catch you in the next video.
Now that you've watched today's video, let's get into this group trip to Cape Town, South Africa. Yes, y'all, Skye Squad, we are hitting South Africa and we are hitting it hard. April 10th through the 17th of 2025. You can click the link in the description of this video to get more information and to reserve your spot. Now we're going to keep this intimate because we have a lot to do. We are going to be looking at real estate. We're going to be learning about retirement and permanent visas, dual citizenship, buying and purchasing land. We are going to be looking at it all because we want options in South Africa, baby. And listen, Cape Town is one of my favorite cities. So of course, we're going to be doing some of my favorite things. We are going to be hitting the wineries. We are going on a safari. We're going to Table Mountain. We're going to some of my favorite restaurants. Let me tell you, one of them is Gold Star, baby. If you know, you know. We're going to be meeting with some expats who have relocated from the United States to Cape Town as well. This is going to be a luxury experience, okay? So we're talking doing the absolute
most. So if you've ever wanted to go to Cape Town, South Africa, but maybe you didn't have the group to go with, maybe you just didn't have the right people that wanted to go and experience it with you, this is an opportunity for you to come with us. Now, I only have about 10 to 12 spots available. Yes, because again, I'm trying to keep this thing intimate, and I know that what type of experience I want it to be. So get in while you can, y'all. Trust me, in 2025, we are going to be needing all the options that we can get. And I am going to do my utmost to bring us the most that we can possibly get in and out of the country. So come with me to South Africa. The group trip is going to be lit April 10th through the 17th. Go ahead and click the link in this description of this video so that you can reserve your spot today. Cape Town, South Africa awaits.